Good morning and welcome to the Ohio Elections Commission. Okay, it is 10:08 for the record. Thank you for your patience as we gather the online participants for today's hearings. We would start today, Monday, November 6th, 2025 with the minutes.
Well, we need to do a roll call first.
Yes,
Wouldn't you
sir.
say?
Yeah.
I would do. Mr. Knight,
We're on the agenda.
Mr. Lyle,
Live present.
Ms. Tavares,
Here.
Mr. Kirschner, present. Vice Chair Davis,
Here.
Chair Hagan,
Present.
all currently seated members of the commission are present.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to agenda item number 1, the minutes. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of October 30th, 2025.
So move.
Second. Okay, seeing a motion, a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion passes unanimously. All right, we're going to move on to the fuller group recommendations. However, we are going to take into consideration those that are present or here online out of courtesy. So we are going to move to.
I'd say Madam Chair, members of the commission, I'll work through the list that Mr. Hughes has developed off people online. The first item I would take up is case number 2025 R-163.
What page is there?
That's what I'm looking at. On page 2, under the $200 fine category, the first item on your item number 20, Anthony Mancini. He is present remotely. Mr. Mancini was referred for failing to file an addendum with the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections. I had a conversation with Mr. Mancini last night and encouraged him to appear. He has indicated to me, and he can certainly speak to that further, that he doesn't have the sufficient information to terminate his campaign committee or bring it into compliance with the Board of Elections. And rather than just continue the matter, I suggested he appear here this morning, be prepared to address the commission, indicate what the balance of his outstanding account is, because he indicated to me that he does have an outstanding balance. And that I would make my recommendation to you. You can see right now it's $200 fine because he has not filed his report. I will update my recommendation based on the nature of his statements to the commission.
And for the record, that is case 2025R-163. And for the commission's order, we will finalize the rest of this case category and the aftermath of the Anthony Mancini case, just for efficiency's sake. Okay. Seeing as Mr. Mancini is present online, would you like to provide testimony? If so, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Very good. You're welcome to share with the commission.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm Anthony Mancini. Thank you, Mr. Richter, for the preliminary summary there. Long story short, first campaign ever, 25 at the time, and there was a lot that just came onto my plate all at once. I feel like I was understaffed in the campaign, but with everything that I was juggling, did my best with the campaign finances. However, there were some discrepancies, obviously. And I didn't really have a good method of record keeping, but I was close, I feel like, I hope. But that's neither here nor there at this point. The reason why I can't provide the information at this point is because of the time elapsed. This is 2 years ago at this point. I've either lost touch or some of the people that donated to my campaign passed away. Not to mention the record keeping is defunct. I don't even know if I even have it all. So like Mr. Richter said, I can't provide the necessary info at this time. But my committee still is active, and so is the account. The current balance in the account is $508.12. And I would like to, after a resolution has come to today, I would like to declare my committee terminated, and I know that I have to obtain a zero balance in that account. in conclusion, I hope we can come to a resolution and I can become compliant with you guys.
Very good. We appreciate the spirit of compliance. Are there any questions from any of the commission members? Sure, Commissioner.
So would you be forming, you said you're still actively campaigning. Would you be forming a new campaign committee then and starting from scratch?
I am not currently campaigning. It's
Okay.
just, yeah, it's just,
When you said it was active, you were still active. What did that?
The account.
maybe I didn't use the right term. I just mean that I didn't declare the committee terminated.
Okay.
The campaign ended years ago.
I get it. Thank you.
Very good. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Mr. Mancini, so it looks like that the fine that we're suggesting here is $200 and you have $500 in the account and you have to close the account. How do you plan to get it to zero balance if we were to accept the executive director's recommendation?
I don't have anything to spend the money on, of course. I actually don't know, and I'm open to suggestions for that. I don't know how to achieve zero balance, frankly.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to
Mhm.
know.
Madam Chair, could Mr. Richter share with the gentleman what options he might have?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Well, if the question and answer period is done. First, I will update my recommendation, Madam Chair, members of the commission. The commission find a violation and impose a fine of $100 for the failure to file a full and complete campaign finance report. But then declare the committee's current balance to be $508.12 as reflected by Mr. Mancini in his statement, and declare the committee then in compliance with Ohio's campaign finance laws as of this finding. Mr. Mancini, you have, you can make contributions to other candidates, you can make contributions to a PAC, or you can make contributions to 501c, certain 501c organizations under the statutes. And that way you could zero out your committee, and then file a termination report with the Board of Elections. Whatever you do, when you utilize those funds, just make sure you keep either a receipt or the canceled check of the payment, so that you can file it with your campaign finance report so that it's complete and accurate.
Thank you, Mr. Richter. So I can go through the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections to do the rest of the process at this point.
Correct. I'm sure the staff at the Board of Elections will be glad to assist you in any way possible.
And including the $100 fine, I can make payment to them.
No, that would come to the commission.
Okay. Do I mail you a check or how does?
Yes.
how does that work?
In simple terms,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Is question about where those funds come from. Is that personal or can that be paid through the campaign account?
Either way is acceptable to the commission.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Are there any other questions or is there a motion?
I'll move the executive director's recommendation, Madam Chair.
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion passes unanimously. We're going to go ahead and consider items 32 through 40. Those are case number 2025R-205-222-224-222-224-231 and -254 of the $200 fine category. Is there anything here that stands out uniquely?
No, Madam Chair, members of the commission, these are persons that are before the commission essentially for the first time. The report has not yet been filed. And so my recommendation is to find a violation as opposed to $200 fine. I'll be glad to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to adopt the executive director's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, that motion passes unanimously.
The next matter I would bring to the commission's attention, Madam Chair, is case, let's see, item number 17, case number 2025R-158, Rick Perales. My recommendation on the matter is to find a violation, impose a fine of $100, and declare the committee's balance as $22,190.86.
Bernie.
I sent you all Mr. Perales's lengthy response yesterday. My recommendation is partially based on conversation with the staff at the Board of Elections as to what his last balance was reflected in his campaign finance report. Maybe Mr. Corrales could speak to that further, and if it's something different. But according to the staff at the Board of Elections, Mr. Corrales was not able to properly conclude his outstanding filings with the Board of Elections. And so at this point, it's his campaign finance reports were still not completed according to them. Certainly, according to the statement, if you read it, he indicated that they have been. Certainly, we could now hear further from Mr. Perales, and the commission can act as it believes appropriate.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. And just for the commissioners, anybody else following along, we are on page 2, and that is item number 17, case number 2025R-158. And this, we do have our gentleman online. Welcome, former Representative Prowse. It's good to see you. Okay, if you would like to provide testimony, feel free to be sworn in.
Well, yes, thank you, Chair Hagan and,
You need to be sworn.
Rick, do you mind to be sworn if you'd like to testify? Thank you so much. Sorry.
Please raise your right
yes,
hand.
but I want my treasurer to be sworn in too. He's gonna chat too, if that's okay.
Okay. Sure thing.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I've never seen a dual swearing in, and now we've seen everything at the Ohio Elections Commission, officially everything. Thank you, Rick, for that. All right. Very good. All right, go ahead, gentlemen. I would assume, Rick, you might want to lead, but maybe if your treasurer would, that's fine.
No,
too.
I'd be happy to, and it's good seeing you, former representative. Yes, thank you guys for hearing our case. This has been ongoing since I finished my last county commissioner job. We have been working diligently with the local Board of Elections, and my treasurer will just try to synopsize with that letter, as it is a little bit lengthy, but we want to give you all the details. So we're hoping you listen to this and you understand what we've gone through and the attempts we've tried to make to comply to get this thing right. This is a priority for me and something that I take very seriously. With that, I'd like to introduce my then treasurer, Daniel Palmer, and he'll try to synopsize what's gone on over this time.
Yeah, sure. So
Very good.
I think going directly to the balance issue, I think there was a discrepancy on the carry forward balance. From our understanding, we corrected that with the Board of Elections, actually in the first request that they had issued to us. And then secondly, I think there was a discrepancy on some of the information specifically regarding campaign reimbursements directly to Mr. Perales. The initial crux of the issue was that it was indicated to us that credit card statements were not a viable use of reimbursement justification. However, in years past, we have used those, and we pointed to the revised code as that being a viable option, as showing a reimbursement or a need for reimbursement. And so originally, when we worked with the Greene County Board of Elections, they found that to be acceptable on certain reimbursements, and then other reimbursements, they found that not to be acceptable and requested a different format to be submitted. And I think the reason they got returned was that I think we were in the third different format. They requested us to submit it, and it wasn't acceptable to them. And so that's why we're here today. And I think a lot of that's detailed in the report. We can go into more specifics if you have any particular questions.
Okay, very good. We appreciate that. We will not ask for the puppy to be sworn in. But do the commission members have any other questions for these gentlemen? Okay, seeing none. Thank you for your testimony and your comments today. Seeing no questions, is there a motion? You starstruck them, they just knocked them back.
I'm going to accept the recommendation from the executive director.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion passes, what, 1, 2,
5 to 1.
5 to 1 today. All right, thank you very much. You all have a wonderful day. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, okay. Do you want to?
Yeah.
we've kind of got them in order here that might help them track a little bit easier. You want to go?
Well, it's up to you. You're the chair.
Okay, well, then I'm gonna,
You
Just
determine
read-
how we want
I'm
to
gonna
go forward
read-
from there.
that sounds good. All right, so we are going to actually revisit the $50 fine category. We're gonna go back in the order of things and start at the top and take it all the way through. So that's item number 34, Citizens for Sycamore et al. That is the Pletz case. Pletz is online. It's case number 2025R-208.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I received a response late last night from Mr. Pletz. And I have updated my recommendation sheet. Thought I circulated it for anybody, Alan. He indicated that he was trying to file the report on the due date, discovered that he had a problem because he had misidentified his previous year's report. And by the time everything got corrected and his schedule allowed him to file it, instead of the annual report being timely filed, it was filed on January 31, it was filed on March 1. My recommendation is to find a violation and impose a fine of $50. Certainly, the commission could hear further from Mr. Pletz as it relates to this matter.
And I do apologize. It seems like the commission likes to make sure that I have egg on my face. So I will share with you that Mr. Pletz is no longer on the audio call. So we do not have him here present to provide testimony, although he was present earlier. So we might consider also item 15 and do the full $50 fine category. So including 2025R-148, if that works for the commission. Okay, and I assume there's not really any outlying information with nobody present to testify. Are there any questions of the executive director?
I'll move to adopt.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion, a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, that motion passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and move on here. So we have handled the Corrales case. The next online participant should be this Wanda Mona Scott.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so that is the $250 fine category on page 2.
Right, Madam Chair, members of the commission, this is item number 9, case number 2025R-118. The report has been filed. There was no response submitted to the commission. ICW here very quickly. I believe there was at least one prior there.
Make for way, and that time creates.
I think somebody online needs to be muted, possibly that might not be muted.
I'm sorry.
And then while we're waiting on the executive director to find his notes, this is case 2025R-118 for the record.
All right,
You're-
the situation there. Madam Chair, members of the commission, the report was filed. It was late. It was filed on March 14th, according to the Board of Elections, due January 31. No response was submitted to the commission. There were 2 prior matters in which the commission imposed fines. The last one was a $100 fine in 2023. My recommendation without the response was to find a violation, impose a fine of $250. Certainly, if the commission wanted to hear further from Ms. Scott, might change my recommendation, or the commission could take it in a different direction. Madam Chair, you could call Ms. Scott forward if you wish.
Very good, Ms. Scott. Thank you for being present. If you would like to testify, we'd just like for you to be sworn in. Thank you.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Feel free to share.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I do apologize for submitting the report late. I did lose my treasurer to a job in finance. And unbeknownst to me, I thought that us closing out the account as required by judicial candidates meant that it was terminated and that I did not have to file. And when I learned that I had missed the deadline, I thought that I had to file the report when I redesignated and reopened an account, which is was done in March. So that is the reason why I was a little bit, torn, just kind of off on the whole thing, believing that me closing the account out meant that it was terminated, not knowing that there were 2 different things and that my treasurer had actually carried over my loans to typically judicial candidates don't get involved with their finance reports and their accounting. So I do apologize for that. And I filed it upon knowing that. And then also I thought it had to be filed with the new treasurer that I had designated, that I couldn't do it in my own capacity as the sitting judge.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Are there any questions of the commission members?
And
Very
can I just
good.
say also, the last fine that we got, the $100 fine, my treasurer filed that less than 24 hours after the deadline. And we were still in the throes of pandemic. Actually, he had COVID. So it was filed late at that time, but it wasn't even 24 hours when it was filed. Had I known, I would have, came and picked it up from their house and delivered it myself. So, I do recognize that too was not timely, but it's really other people, because now that I know, I make sure that everything is filed on time and even before the deadline. Thank you. That's it.
Very good. Thank you for that additional insight. Are there any questions as it relates to that?
Madam Chair, I just have a question, not a question, but when I'm looking at the ICW, Mr. Richter mentioned that she had 2 fines, but he didn't mention that she did pay them.
Oh.
So she did pay a violation of $50 and she paid that. She had one of 100. She also paid that fine. So based on her explanation, I would actually make a motion to find a violation that reduced the fine to $100.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion passes. I'm abstaining. 3-2 with 1
Yeah,
abstention.
4-1.
No, I'm not
Oh,
voting that way. Thank you.
sorry. I apologize.
Okay, so 3-2 with 1 abstention, right?
Then that motion fails because it takes
Oh,
4
yeah,
persons
4, you're right.
in order to.
It should be Tuesday.
Well,
Is
if
there
there's
another
another motion out there, yes, I'm sorry.
All right, commission members, is there another motion?
Madam Chair, I'll move to find a violation and recommend $150 fine.
Okay, I'm not hearing a second right away, so is there any desire to speak to that in any way, shape, or form? Maybe that might rally some votes.
Well, just to clarify, so Commissioner Davis is recusing herself from this vote, so we'll have to have 4
Correct.
vote in favor.
So if you were opposed to the last motion, you might want to pontificate on why so that we could find some consensus.
In an effort to reach a consensus, I will second it.
Okay, all right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so that,
And your vote, Madam Chair?
I'm gonna vote yay.
Okay. Then the motion passes 4-1 with.
One abstention.
with one
Davis,
abstention.
yes.
Right.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for your time. Okay, so one.
Thank you,
I'm
Judge Scott.
sorry. I apologize. I'm not clear on what. everyone was-
$150 fine.
Okay, thank you. How do I go about paying that? Is it
To
something
the
in the
Ohio
letter?
Elections Commission.
It will be in
Alright.
the notice to you, but you pay it to the Ohio Elections Commission.
All right. Thank you so much. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Judge. All right, okay, very good. So I'm showing Lisa now as the next online. Okay, so we're going to move to the reconsider all outstanding matters, vacate the previous fine and consolidate all matters, find a violation, impose a fine of $1,000 category. Item number 41, Ms. Canales is available online. It's case 2025R-255.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, while this Canales Smith is being called up. Obviously, if you look at the ICW, you can see that there have been a variety of cases involving her over the years. She submitted a response that indicates that she had certain life experiences that have kept her from being able to file reports. The reports remain outstanding at this point. She asked, I believe, if the matter be terminated. And so that's the basis for my recommendation as the chair just read it. And the imposition of $1,000 fine due to the number of priors listed on her ICW. Certainly, if the commission would like to hear further from Ms. Canales Smith, they could do so.
Okay, very good. Ms. Canales, if you would like to provide testimony, please be sworn.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
You may be muted. I don't think we
Maybe
could
muted.
verbally hear you. Should we go
I
through
do.
again? If you don't mind. Oh, thank you very much. We appreciate
Okay.
that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I just, I'm not sure if you have my letter in front of you, but I just, I am so sorry that it really has gotten to this point. I have tried a number of times of working with the Lucas County elections, and it's not, I'm not saying that, I'm not pointing fingers at all. It was a difficult process. I just didn't feel like, I think for me is I feel like there was never enough help. And again, this is not towards them. I think the people around me, and I got frustrated, and I definitely had some life changes, very significant in my life. So sorry. And I just got tired, and I knew it was there, and I loved being an elected official. I took great pride in that, and I'm so sorry that it ended this way. So I wanted to come in front of you and really just apologize. And so, sorry. That's
Ms.
what's
Canales, you don't need to apologize. We sincerely appreciate your heart and your authenticity. We recognize the complexity of the matters that are in front of people when they are in elected office and seeking elected office. So we just appreciate your heart.
Thank you.
But very good. We appreciate you sharing that with us. Is there anything else that you would like to share as it regards to your case?
I know that the amount was huge. But, and this is my first time, I really don't know what to ask or not to ask, but I will ask you that the money from the campaign, the very end of it, we did not keep a dime of it. It was given to, the PTOs, it was given to another candidate. It was not kept in any way, shape, or form. And although the amount was a large amount, I would just ask that even $1,000 really difficult for us right now, and just any reconsideration of that. Like I said, I stay very visible and very and try to help in our community a great deal. But even the $1,000 is, it's a lot. But I will take your recommendation out of respect for just even the help to be able to close this case. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that additional insight. Commission members, are there any questions, comments as it relates to the case?
Just for the executive director, if I may. Phil, based upon the discussion here today, I just want to understand objectively, would you offer any revision to your recommendation? And maybe the rationale, if you would.
Well, the rationale is, like I said, there have been a variety of a really lengthy number of cases involving this before. We dealt, at least I know I've had previous, tried to work through this with Ms. Canales Flores at that point, as I recall. And that's because there have been so many, that's the primary reason why I put the fine amount as large as I did. Based on the number of cases, you could argue at one level it could be much higher. I don't know that I'd want to go there. And certainly if the commission, in their wisdom, decides to go in a different direction as it relates to the fine, I would fully well understand.
Would you adjust your recommendation?
I'm not going to adjust my recommendation, no.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments from commission members? I do have one question about those previous matters. Were they all handled in a timely fashion, and were the fees and fines paid according to that process in a timely fashion?
Check. I think the answer to that would be no. There's a variety of case times where we impose per diem fines. And have matters outstanding. Back in 2007, there was a $250 fine imposed that was paid. Later in 2007, there was a $500 fine that was not paid. So there have been, over the life of this, there have been.
And the cumulative outstanding would far exceed the $1,000 that's currently recommended, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. Are there any additional questions or?
I have a question for the executive director. Are we permitted to do time-based fine adjustments? For example, if the respondent pays in 45 days, the fine would be X, and if not, the fine would be Y?
I am not aware of anything that would prevent us from doing that, because it just says that, when the commission can find good cause, it can refer for prosecution or impose a fine. So there isn't a restriction on that of which I am aware.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that question. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion at hand?
Make a motion to accept the executive director's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion passes 5-1.
Or two, Mr.
4-2.
Wyatt and Mr. Knight
Ah.
voted no.
They must have done it in harmony. I'm sorry,
It's
gentlemen.
okay.
I heard Ernie loud and clear. I did not hear you, Mr. Lyle.
No
Okay,
problem.
very good. Okay, so 4-2. I apologize. Okay, very good. And we have Mr. Mincy. We handled Mincy. And we have Ms. Wright.
I think that, Madam Chair, members of the commission, the next item is down in the $1,000 fine category, lower on page 10, item number 14, case number 2025 R-147. We have online listed as Caitlin Wright. We are assuming that is somehow related to this case because it's the only right that we have listed in our filings. Certainly, if Caitlin Wright would like to address the commission, she could certainly do so if the commission so decides.
Sure. And for the record, it's on page 2, case number 2025 R-147. Ms. Wright, if you would like to address the commission, we would need to both see you and hear you and being sworn in. Do you know how to unmute possibly? Is the chat communication open, Chris? So she could. Okay, if we don't hear from you here in the next 30 seconds or so, we're probably going to move forward with the case. You'd rather come back?
Yeah.
Okay, in case she's trying to figure it
Okay.
out. Okay. Did she respond in the, oh no, that's just yours. Okay.
I'm stepping away.
Okay, Ms. Wright, we're gonna give you a little grace here, and we're actually going to rescind the direction on hearing this case. We'll hear it after the next set or series of cases. We're gonna turn to page 3 to Ms. Bear's cases. They're items 63, 64, and 65, case numbers 2011S-247-019 and -010. So the Secretary's office would like to come up as well as Ms. Bear's. We'd be happy and willing to hear from you if you're willing to be sworn after the executive director gives us his explanation.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Bears, the treasurer for the committee at the time these actions were taken, reached out to the commission after she had been approached by the Attorney General's office on a fairly substantial collection matter. indicating that this PAC had essentially not been active since 2011. And at that time, she had moved out of state. And she asked for the matter to be reconsidered. I indicated I would look into it. I sent information concerning PAC, her request, etc., to the Secretary's office, Mr. Katz, who I gave him an outline of what I intended or thought I would do as it related to this matter. At that point, he agreed to have the matter go forward before the commission for reconsideration. And so you can see that my recommendation is to reconsider the matters, I should say, vacate the previous impositions of the per diem fines, consolidate all of the matters, and instead impose a fine of $300 and also to declare the committee terminated. Certainly the commission can hear further from Ms. Bears if it would like to do so, and also to hear from Mr. Katz as it relates to the secretary's position on this matter.
Okay, very good. Ms. Bears, if you would like to provide testimony, please raise your right hand and be sworn in. Okay, very good.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Oh, I think, are you possibly muted? Did you, anyone else here? Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
We
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
yeah,
we can.
yeah, sure can. Do you mind,
Yes.
okay, all right, very good. Go ahead and please provide your insights.
Hi, good morning, Commission. I am speaking to you from Arlington, Virginia. I've been living here since 2009, July 2009. And I presented to Mr. Richter, the director of the commission, sort of a timeline of how things progressed. I am beholden to a board, and our group has been inactive. We never, I think as far as supporting any political group or person, we never use those funds for that. I opened the account. I never took out a check. I never took out a debit card through Fifth Third. The balance is now $165. Or it should be 155. Our group, or the account that we set up for the Latino Association of Ohio, has been collecting dormant fees, and I provided the director all the documentation I had to show that over the last 16 years since that account was created, it has depleted in dormant fees. We started with about, I believe, a little over $1,000. And it was a bipartisan group. We were very energetic to mobilize our group because we believed in a lot of folks who were showing leadership in different parts of Ohio. So it was a collective. We went to Toledo, we went to Cincinnati. We were a membership meeting, and I was never contacted by the state. I mean, when we formed, we collected membership fees for activity, but when I left, I had notified, I guess, whoever would send mail to me that I would to forward it to Arlington, Virginia. So that never happened. And based on the records I've been able to look at that are all public, my name was never, or address was ever used to contact me. And I just was, I had made my own personal efforts, and I provided an email to the director as well, Mr. Richter, that I was seeking someone to take leadership as treasurer because I could no longer serve. This was a new job opportunity. My husband was working at Ohio State. Those funds for research were ending, so he found a job here in the Washington, D.C. area. So I was making all of that clear to our board, and no one really stepped up to do anything, and the group never really made any further expenses other than what was reported publicly in 2009. So I left, and I did try to continue supporting the group, but I had already made my case that I could no longer serve as treasurer, and I made an attempt to contact Ohio Secretary of State's office, and they said, we can't remove you unless you find a replacement. And I'm not sure they quite understood that due to relocation and a life change, a big change, I was going to be a resident and voter, register my votes here and actively be here, and now no longer be able to participate in the state of Ohio. So I do communicate with some of the board off and on over the years, but no one ever contacted me. The person who was also listed in the form never contacted me either, and looks like he was receiving communication, but I did not. No one forwarded that information to me. So I was trying to absolve myself in what I believe was the best way I could. And I did not know filings were due since we were not actively spending. So I was never reached out to. I apologize. I just believed our group was defunct. Our board was no longer active. And I tried every attempt to try to remove myself, and online access was not what we know now today in 2009. So I didn't have the luxury to physically be there to remove my name and go to the state's office and explain my case. I was struggling to find my own job situation here. I mean, and since then, a lot of things have happened in my life. As it's been a long time, 2009 to now. I just learned about this organization being flagged for some reason I didn't know. I learned about it in September. I had no idea anyone was trying to reach out to me. I would have done my due diligence, and I'm willing to do that now. I take ownership for the lapse, and so. But I was never reached out to, and I wish my other board members who may have been reached out to, they never contacted me, since everyone really lives spread out across the state.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think,
Over the state.
I think we've heard of you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bears, for your testimony and for sharing with us all that entailed. Mr. Katz, do you care to share anything as well?
Thank you very much, Brian Katz from the Ohio Secretary of State's office. Seeing that these cases are 2010 and 2011, when Francis was barely born back then, the committee has had no activity since then that I'm aware of, and we have no objection to the executive director's recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the commission members?
Madam Chair, I do, I guess, Mr. Richter and Mr. Katz. So I don't understand why we've been so dilatory. And I don't even know if that's a strong enough word, slow to act, but literally, at least my 4 years on the commission, typically, if we have a case that's old, they're dismissed. I mean, we're talking 2011. So I'd like to have an explanation from both of you, if I may, why.
Sure. So this is a reconsideration, a case that was heard by the commission 15 years ago.
Right.
She was found in violation of the statutes back then. The Attorney General's office is now collecting on this matter. And so
15 years later.
And so she's been notified of a outstanding fine. I don't know the amount that she was told. And so it's in front of you again because she's asking for that amount from 15 years ago that was never paid to be less.
I understand that. I guess I'm curious why a case this old is before us, because typically they're dismissed. So that's my question, I guess.
Well, it wouldn't be dismissed per se. I mean, the commission made the findings that it did in the 3 cases. And they were referred along to the Attorney General's office for collection. And the Attorney General's office only recently reached out to her, or maybe it had tried in the past. But we're reacting to the fact that the Attorney General's office finally came around to, be in contact with her, bringing this to her attention, and then she reached back out to us in an effort to have the fine amount reduced. And so that's why we're here today.
Okay. And when was it sent to the Attorney General?
Sometime shortly after 2011.
Okay.
I mean, I can look it up.
No, but that's fine. I'll take 2011.
When it went, but it's been there. Yeah, it's been there since that time.
Took them 14 years to do this.
It makes me feel better in a weird way to know that not all things are the Ohio Elections Commission's problem. So, very good. All right, well, thanks.
It's a little ironic to me, but.
Yeah, well, headlines are headlines. All right.
There ought to be a statute of limitations. The Attorney General can't get around to it, and it ought to go away.
There's a
Opinion.
legislative body that can be petitioned. All right, very good.
Let's be
Okay,
clear, if I could, Madam Chair, it seems to me, Mr. Richter, that if I understand Mr. Cash correctly, a resolution was reached, the matter was resolved, and it was simply sent to the Attorney General's office for collection. And so what they're doing now is simply collecting on the fine that was already established.
15 years later.
correct, but if
I don't
it's,
know how many collections agents that call people that I know that take 15 years to collect, but.
what,
I understand your
My
position.
experience.
Yeah, and the position is your position. From a factual perspective, that's what occurred. And so the amount would be substantially in excess of $300 at this point. And as we wrap up the commission, you just wanted to, I imagine, Mr. Richter, establish a sum certain so that the matter could be resolved. Is that the point?
Correct.
What was the original plan?
well, the original with.
Per diem. It was a per diem fine, so it continued to increase because the reports were never filed. So as you could well imagine, $25 a day from the date the report was due. I think it was
Plus or minus 14 years.
For the 2010 annual, so calculating from January 31 of 2011 to today could come up with a very substantial number.
All right, so it feels like 300 would be reasonable for this young woman here.
May I
Sure.
just add to that? The only way I was reached out to was a law office that wasn't, it was a unknown number. And I assumed it was relating to something in Virginia, because I'm active here. And the amount they stated was $35,000. And I was just at the point of almost having a heart attack. Because
Understandable.
I never wanted to burden the state. I've committed my time to Ohio. I really volunteered outside, and I have no qualms. And if I apologize for the lapse, but that's how I didn't know about any other fines. Just to be clear, if there was a fine that was drafted for 300 or 200, according to the records I could find, I was not given communication of a $200 fine. So I apologize.
Thank
I
you
would
very
have of that. Thank you.
We appreciate you very much sharing that information. And I believe both the gentleladies, the commission women here would like to say something. So, sorry, it's okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I guess my question goes back to when did, I can't remember the woman's name here. When did she move out of state? I thought she said 2009.
Ms. Bears.
Yes.
She indicated 2009. She also, what she had said to me, I think in her email to me that started this whole process was, at that point, she indicated to the remainder of the board, whatever, for the PAC, that she was moving, a new treasurer needed to be appointed. That never got done. So she remained as treasurer throughout the entire period of time throughout one of these cases.
And on that point, Mr. Richter, what is the process? If she's moved out of state, she's asked to be removed, and they haven't named another one, you mean somebody just has to stay there indefinitely, whether they want to or not? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's the way the statutes read as it relates to campaign finance law in the state of Ohio. A treasurer remains in that position until a new treasurer is appointed by the filing of a new designation of treasurer. Now, we have had cases before where we have declared that, a treasurer is not responsible per se. So I mean, that has occurred in the past. But essentially, that's the way the statute works.
Beware of joining someone's campaign as a treasurer. That's what I'll just put out there on the record.
Okay,
I
very good, Mr.
just want to clarify real quick. So am I hearing that once someone is assigned a designation of treasurer for a campaign, that they are unable to resign of their own accord unless there is a replacement?
Per statute, until kingdom come and unless death do them part.
Wow, that's retarded. That's ridiculous.
Is there another mechanism for removal that we're unaware of that the secretary's office is familiar with?
It is.
Well, it's also the seriousness of taking on the role, perhaps. Is that you maybe understand the weight of that. But it's lots of low hanging fruit for excited legislators out there who want to make a difference. All right, anybody else? I know you had a question or want to make a statement as well, Commissioner.
So my question is to Ms. Bears. You stated that the account currently has $163 and it currently.
155, and I did provide that to Mr. Richter, a screenshot of the current balance. But then I also provided all the bank statements that Fifth Third could provide, showing that the account was just depleting with $5 dormant fees because I physically don't live there. And to
Right.
access the account, I couldn't.
But the balance,
Yeah, yes,
the
ma'am.
balance is
Yes,
155
ma'am.
is what you're saying. Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. And not only are you the treasurer on the account, you are, well, obviously you have to be on the bank account as well. You the only person named on the bank account?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
I wanted to limit any possible misuse of funds, so I took that responsibility, but no one has used that money. And
Okay.
I've only, yeah,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Oh, okay. Mr. Katz, did you have anything else you were hoping to contribute or?
I did not.
Okay, very good. All right, any other commission members or is there a motion at hand?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move the reconsider the matter, vacate the previous imposition of the per diem fine, consolidate all matters, and instead impose a fine of the balance of the account of $155 and whatever odd cents, and declare the committee terminated.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion passes 5-1. All right. Okay,
Thank you.
very good.
so
Thank you for your time.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate-
Thank you, State of Ohio. Thank you.
That is generous. Thank you. All right. All right, very good. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Okay, Ms. Wright did indicate by the message that she is not wanting to testify, but since she is probably patiently waiting online, I'd like to go ahead and hear the $1,000 fine category on page 2 for both items 14 and 30, cases 2025R-147 and -200.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, these are cases where the report has not been filed with the County Board of Elections. And so my recommendation, and there are a number of prior violations by these, by the candidate and committees. And so my recommendation is to find a violation, impose a fine of $1,000.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions of the commission members?
I'd move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, very good. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, that motion passes unanimously. We're going to go ahead and go to the very beginning of the agenda and just work, well, I apologize. I spoke too soon with the Secretary of State's office. Well, actually that works. We're going to go to the very beginning of the agenda and start with the dismiss for failure of service. Category items 45, 47, 51, and 60. Case numbers 2024S-057-004-010 and -028. Phil, would you?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, we've not been able to get good service on any of these matters. And so my recommendation is that we dismiss these cases without.
Okay, very good. Are there,
So moved.
well, hold on, Mr. Katz, would you or your office care to comment on these cases?
Can confirm that none of this hasn't changed since you last. Okay, so we have no objection to the executive director's recommendation.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. We're going to go ahead to the next case category. Case numbers 2025R-256 and 2025S-012. Phil, did you have any?
My recommendation is this easy, so we are, it has been, we have been informed that, excuse me for saying that, that the, candidate, is currently incarcerated, and so therefore I'm recommending to dismiss these complaints and declare the committee terminated. The respondent is currently incarcerated.
Okay, very good. Does the Secretary of State's office have anything to say on item number 53 or case -012?
Yes, thank you. So this committee is inactive with us. However, the individual is incarcerated for abuse of a charity in his deceased son's name and that's not relevant for this specific campaign finance violations. He has multiple outstanding issues of potential theft involving his campaign committee that we believe should be resolved and not merely terminated and dismissing this complaint. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any questions of the commission members?
Madam Chair, if I could, I just want to clarify. You're in support of the executive director's recommendation? No, okay.
No, we are not. These matters are separate from the issue that has him detained today.
Chair, let me just be clear. This is just for the case, the 2025 S-12, or are you referring to both the 2025 R-256 and the one that has the S after it?
So we had him speak to the S because
Right.
it's relevant to them. However, because of the recommendation of the executive director, we were addressing both, so it's a little confusing, but
Yeah, so the R complaint would be from the Board of Elections, who also filed complaints against him, but we have no comment on.
Okay.
Just only for it's a failure to file 2024 pre-primary and pre-general reports, as well as personal use of campaign funds, ATM withdrawals, expenditure purposes that don't appear to be campaign related, and other potential misuse of fund issues.
and further, would you be willing to state what your recommendation would be, since it's contrary to the executive director's direction on this?
It would be to have a hearing in the future when this gentleman is available to do so.
And do we anticipate that would be within the statute of limitations, or is this in 3 to 5 years from now?
I don't know the term of his current incarceration.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Katz. Are there any other questions of commission members?
Madam Chair, I'd like to know, obviously, his incarceration date and chance for parole. I think that's salient to this case, and without that, I just don't feel comfortable voting.
Then we just continue, yeah.
I don't know that anybody is doing that research, Johnny, on the spot at the moment, but if there are any eager report, it might look at the Secretary of State's office going above and beyond. Looks like they've researched something quickly.
So it's 6-month sentence as of August. So he should be getting
Just
out
the
soon.
6 months.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it looks like, Commissioner,
I'm sorry, I had one other question for Mr. Katz. Do we know the amount of money we're talking about?
So the ATM withdrawal was for $300. I don't have the expenditure. We didn't add up the expenditures with questionable purposes that we would also be seeking clarification on. How was that related to a campaign activity that would make it a lawful expenditure? Otherwise, we would deem it a unlawful expenditure and expect a refund in those amounts as well.
Okay, thank you.
okay, well, having heard all of that and knowing we've got some disjointedness here, is there a directive? I sort of heard a desire for continuance.
So you have the ability to continue, it's not a chair.
All right, very good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that for the comfort of Commissioner Weil and all others. We're going to continue both of those cases and move on to the $100 fine category. That is item number 55, case 2025S-017. Phil, do you care to speak to that case?
Sure. Madam Chair, members of the commission, we report that it's been filed. It was due on September 30th of last year, filed on July 15th of this year. No response was submitted to the commission. There was one prior case where the commission found a violation of the cost non-imposed fine. And so my recommendation here is to find a violation, impose a fine of $100. The case in which the commission found a violation found good cause was from 2010. I'll be glad to answer any questions the commission may have.
Thank you. Mr. Cox, go ahead.
Thank you. So the candidate is no longer with us, but the treasurer was failing to properly resolve outstanding issues with the committee, leaving questions open, leading to, I believe, a prior hearing being continued until today. Those discrepancies have been accounted for, and the committee has properly requested termination. And we have no objection to the executive director's recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Questions of the commission members? Okay, is there a motion and second? All right, motion and second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, that motion passes 7-0. Okay, we're going to go on to the next category, item 53, case 2025S-015. Bill, do you care to speak to that?
Anyway, that should be, I missed the number. It should be 013. Madam Chair.
Okay.
Sorry about that. The report has been, was for failure to file a July 31 semi-annual report was filed on May 12th. The response was submitted as it related to that. There is a prior matter involved in this group, which I am recommending be consolidated, reconsidering consolidated with this case. And so my recommendation officially is to reconsider case number 2021-S-048, which has not otherwise been resolved. Vacate the previous finding, consolidate these two cases, find a violation, and impose a fine of $100.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions? Or I apologize, Mr. Katz, would you like to?
No problem at all. Thank you. So as the executive director stated, the reports have been filed and the committee has come into compliance, and we have no objection to the executive director's recommendation. Thank you.
Very good. Are there any questions of commission members? Okay, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
All right, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to item number 50, case number 2025S-009.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, essentially the semi-annual, the 2024 semi-annual report was not filed until July 31, effectively of 2025. No response has been submitted to the commission. There was one prior case, again, where it's still outstanding and not resolved, actually in 2024. My recommendation here is to reconsider case number 2024-S-011, vacate the previous finding, consolidate these cases, find a violation, and impose a fine of $150. I'll be glad to answer any questions the commission may have.
Very good. Secretary's office like to say anything on this?
Thank you. Just no objection to the executive director's recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions, commission members, or is there a motion at hand?
So moved.
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, that motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 59, it's case 2025S-025.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, this one's a little bit more interesting. The Association of Health Underwriters PAC CP 622 has changed its name. It's now the National Association of Benefit Insurance Professionals. At least when this referral was made to us, there had not been an update on treasurer, deputy treasurer information, and we received a response from the treasurer, which I've synopsized for everybody in the ICW. After seeing all this, and the report has been filed. The report was an April 2024 report. It was filed eventually on June 11th of this year. The former treasurer responded and says it wasn't her, and she doesn't have anything else to do with it. And so I believe there has been an updated designation of treasurer filed for this committee, but that's not before us per se. My recommendation is to dismiss the treasurer and the deputy treasurer, find a violation against the committee and its successor, the National Association of Benefits and Insurance Professionals, Ohio PAC CP 622, and impose a fine of $150. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. For Mr. Katz's benefit, it's a slightly different recommendation. He had been previously sent along to you for your consideration.
Thank you. So as the executive director said, there has been a updated designation of treasurer form for there to be a new, at least treasurer, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I have it in front of me to see if there's also a new deputy treasurer. Oh, that's an old one. And then the addenda was received in June. And so this is for a failure to respond to a letter. And the committee is now in compliance, having submitted that letter. But it was late. And so I know it's not a favorable position at the moment, but treasurers are responsible for their activity of an entity until they can find someone else to be responsible for that activity. We now have a new individual, but until May of this past year, the remaining individual was still outstanding. I'd like to believe that the group whose name I didn't catch will be the ones actually paying for it, but there does need to be individuals associated with a complaint for sakes of finding out someone to actually pay it. And so unless you're recommending including the new committee treasurer and deputy treasurer as swapping for parties, we would not support dismissing the parties that were responsible at the time of the violation. Thank you.
So just quickly add, not being no disrespect toward your objection, understandable. But when the response was submitted, so I guess I didn't share with you, aside from outlining it in the ICW, what the treasurer indicated was that both she and the deputy treasurer had been let go and were no longer with the organization. And you know, we're not, I guess you'd say, responsible for the organization at the time the report was due to be filed. So that's the reason why I included a dismissal request for them.
I think you provide us a pathway for swapping to the responsible parties. Right? Maybe not. Go ahead.
I don't believe they've been notified of the complaint, and let me change that. They know that there's a complaint because they're the ones that helped bring the committee into compliance, but for notice sake, with the hearing, they haven't been notified to have an opportunity to object to anything today. But respectfully, the difference for what I believe the executive director is talking about is it is often the case where corporations have their employees do things and get assigned as treasurers or deputy treasurers unofficially as part of their work, but just because they are no longer with that company does not mean they are no longer the treasurer for the PAC or other associated entity. They might not have appreciated that their voluntary or involuntary leaving that company doesn't make that happen, but it is still the case that they remain the treasurer so long as or until they are replaced. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, just to be clear, so Mr. Richter is recommending we dismiss the case. And Mr. Katz, your relief is to just continue it? I'm at a loss.
So I'm not recommending the case be dismissed, Mr. Lyle.
Okay.
He's recommending that the treasurer and deputy treasurer be dismissed.
Okay.
But there be a violation as it relates to the committee and a fine.
Fair enough. And Mr. Katz, your relief is, what are you requesting?
To have the parties fined in the appropriate amount for a lateness in a filing.
And not dismiss the
And not dismiss.
deputy and treasurer.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
For clarity's sake, though, I think, did you also recommend that it could, in your opinion, be reassigned to the sitting treasurer and vice treasurer, that you saw that as and maybe I misheard that. I might have misunderstood what you were stating earlier, Mr. Katz.
So substitution of parties is appropriate when there are missing parties or parties that are not appropriately named in a complaint. For the executive director's recommendation, that would be what we would seek, is that if you're saying that the individuals that we've identified are not the appropriate individuals, that we amend the complaint to include those individuals. However, that is not our request right now because the new individuals were not at the treasurer or the deputy treasurer at the time of violation. Okay. And so we don't necessarily want to allege that they have committed a violation when they were not responsible for the committee at the time that the violation occurred. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a question of the executive director, because it's a little confusing. My understanding is that the new organization, the National Association of Benefits and Insurance Professionals / Ohio PAC, is the new entity that's changed its name from the Ohio Association of Health Underwriters. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And they're taking on the responsibilities of the committee, correct?
Yes, they essentially changed the name of it. What it comes to, because you can see from here, if you look at the ICW, the Secretary of State's designation, identification designation, CB 622 is remain the same.
So if the two people who were let go, the treasurer and the deputy treasurer, let go from this association, why wouldn't the committee be responsible rather than those two individuals?
I think Commissioner Tavares said the point of clarity we're seeking Secretary of State's offices, they were let go from their employment, but they weren't simultaneously replaced, so not discharged from their duty of signing on as treasurers. So it's just kind of a
Yeah, that still
convoluted,
makes no
complicated
sense.
situation. That you
Yeah,
don't want
that they're
to
gonna be penalized for the organization and they're no longer with the organization. I mean, how likely is it somebody's going to want to get the record straight when they're no longer with the company? Makes a lot of sense.
And then I think for further discussion for us, it sounds like they were not directly, did they receive notice?
The treasurer deputy.
Yeah. Okay. And they've not,
The treasurer responded
okay.
on behalf of herself and the deputy.
All right, are there any other questions of the commission members?
Mr. Richter, just a question, Madam Chair, for Mr. Richter. So you said they were notified, but on the ICW, it says unable to forward, so I guess I'm confused.
I have to look at the file actually,
I
but
mean, I have it pulled up. I'm looking at it. It says unable to forward. Ohio Association of Health Underwriters, right? Tax CP 622. Case, right, I understand it. But that's the ICW we have.
But maybe
But what the-
one of the two
what the
parties.
response indicates. I received the enclosed letter and have sent multiple return to send it back to your office, but keep getting these notices. I have not worked for Eddie Williams, which is the other person in the Ohio Association of Health Underwriters since April of 2024. I do not know who took over my position. I am not sure why they still have two of us listed and why my home address is receiving this mail. I have had nothing to do with this organization going on 1.5 years now. My name, change their name. So perhaps you'll be able to put contact information. And so, these materials did get forwarded along to the treasurer. Other items came back as undeliverable. We kept sending out information. And so eventually, one of them did. I would guess it got to the company and the company sent it along because it had her name.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Richter, am I clear in understanding that the designation of treasurer form had the two employees' home addresses and not the PAC's address?
No, they had the PAC address.
Okay.
At least that's what was forwarded to us by the secretary's office and looking back at the materials.
And do we know who the new well, yeah, we do know that information because they filed that in, did you say September, Mr. Head?
June, but yes. I believe if you ask the executive director for a alternative recommendation to dismissing the parties, that we're talking about a very small fine amount for a committee that was late a couple months in responding to a letter that we are not alleging massive fraud in, and that might help clarify the situation. Whether or not you hold the former treasurer and deputy treasurer also liable for that amount is obviously up to you, but just to keep it in perspective, this is a couple months late on a letter, not something bigger than that. Thank you.
probably not worth its weight in deliberations, but here we are doing it again. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. So do we have a motion that you all feel confident in?
Go ahead, Commissioner Lyle.
I'd like to hear from Mr. Richter. I'm comfortable with the recommendation I make. I appreciate the circumstances. I appreciate what Mr. Katz is saying, particularly as it relates to the ongoing responsibility of the treasurer and deputy treasurer. We spoke about that earlier when we were dealing with Ms. Bears. You know, it can be unfortunate at times that you retain that position, I should say, unless you're switched out. But there, while Ms. Bears moved, she was a member of the organization. She asked for help. Nobody ever provided it. Here, you know, you have the organization, the Ohio Association of Health Underwriters. They created this PAC. Then, you know, I don't know exactly how you read the letter, but they dismissed employees. And so those employees are no longer with the organization, but then never, at least not until some of these materials were received, they didn't do anything to change anything. I think their designation of treasurer for employees that were no longer with the company. And I'm just moved by that and believe that that takes away some of the responsibility from those persons.
All right. The only hard thing about being a chair is not being able to motion.
So I make a motion to accept the executive director's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
That is 5-2. And the motion passes.
Oh, there's only 6.
4-2.
4-2. I'm sorry. Thank
5-1.
you, Mr.
4-2, the chair.
I guess.
Oh, did you vote? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sorry for the ruckus.
Can you please clarify, was the PAC fine as part of this?
Yes.
Yes,
I didn't want to
150 is
The
the,
recommendation was.
provide us.
150.
Thank you.
all right. Okay, very good. Moving on to $300 fine category, item 58, case number 2025S-022.
Chair members of the commission, the report was filed. It was due on July 31 of 2024. It was filed on September 26 of 25. No response has been submitted to the commission as it relates to any explanation as it relates to this. There are prior matters in which the commission has imposed fines. One was paid, one was not. And so my recommendation here is to find a violation and impose a fine of $300. I'll be glad to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Katz.
Thank you. So yes, this report that we're talking about, the 2024 semi-annual, has not been filed. However, the committee has filed later reports since then, including the 2025 semi-annual here recently. So they have also requested termination. And so it is, we would be in agreement with the executive director to levy a fine for the missing report, but otherwise allow this committee to terminate in compliance. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions of commission members or is there a motion?
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, we're gonna move on to the $200 fine category. That is going to be cases 2024 2024S-010, 2025S-008, -016, and -021.
They're all matters of the full commission for the first time. Madam Chair, the reports have not been filed. And so my recommendation is to find a violation and post fine of $200.
Okay, very good. Mr. Katz, do you care to speak to any of these cases or you need them repeated?
I do, yes, please. But was the first one 2025S-010 Jason Paul Smith?
No,
No.
4S010 Cedric Denson. I had that as a to be determined when I sent it up and we were not having. You know, we continued that from a prior meeting as anticipating that he would take care of his filing obligations. He did not do so. And so my recommendation now is to impose a fine of $200.
We have no objection to that recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, and any of the additional cases, the 2025S-008-016 or -021? Lanning, Brent, and Hendricks, if helpful. Do we have any additional agendas on hand by chance? Seems like it could be helpful to them.
I'm sure I'm signed up to speak on Lanning.
Oh, okay, very good. I was not aware of that.
Definitely no objection to the Citizens for Wendy Hendricks 2025S008 fine. Thank you.
They're looking for Brent and Lanning.
Bricklayers Local 5 PCE.
Not in this group. Brent and Lanning are your outliers.
No objection to the fine for 2025S016 Friends of Juanita Brent Island. Thank you.
Okay, and Lanning? So, okay, sorry.
No.
Yeah, you both would.
For that one, again, we would have no objection to the executive director's recommendation for 2025S021 Landing for Ohio. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Feel free. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission, Executive Director Scott Polans, attorney on behalf of Josiah Lanning. This was a case, the former treasurer that committed most of the errors in the filings was a gentleman named Bill Curlis, who you're familiar with. I took over sometime afterwards. Had some miscommunication with the Secretary of State's office when I was ill, and I thought I had more time to get the stuff updated, and I didn't, so they made a referral. At this point, I'm fairly certain that all the items needed to be changed for purposes of this hearing are now done. We've got one more audit to deal with, but for newer items. So I would ask if you find a violation to impose a minimum fine, and I'll certainly take care of it.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your comments. Are there any questions from the commission members, maybe specifically on the Lanning case, since we have these two gentlemen in front of us?
Thank you. So as it was just whispered in my ear, we have received an update from the committee yesterday, I believe it was.
Yes.
And so we believe a violation still has occurred and a fine is appropriate, but do not have objections to either the executive director or the attorney for the committee's recommendations. Thank you.
Very good. We appreciate both of you. All right, are there any questions of the commission members?
Madam Chair, I do for Mr. Richter. So on all these cases, there are $200 fines. As I look at our ICWs, there's no priors. Is that accurate?
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Lyle.
So based on what you just heard, Mr. Pollins, from the Lanning case, does that change your recommendation on that case?
Yeah, because, I certainly had no idea that anything was just filed yesterday.
Sure.
It goes that way sometimes. Sometimes I'm the one who gets the text or the email messages and have to send it along. Hearing Mr. Katz, that he's acknowledging that the report was received, my recommendation on case number 2025 RS-021, considering the length of time involved and the fact that we've gone through all this, would be to find a violation, impose a fine of $100, just as it relates to item number 57.
Madam Chair, if I could, then I would make a motion, two separate motions. The first would be to adopt the executive director's recommendation as it relates to 2024 S 010, 2025 S 008, 2025 S 016 as a first motion to exclude Lanning from that motion.
Second.
Chair, Madam Chair, for discussion purposes, I would like to accuse myself from 2020 S-010.
Okay, so it just got even more exciting. With that, do you want to amend your motion to honor her ability to recuse from one of the three, since we're trying to?
Yeah, the motion's fine. She's recused.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take her on the other two without
No, she can just recuse from,
All three.
in this case, you'd be recused from all three.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry about your vote. Okay. Okay, very good. We had a motion and a second and commentary. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes 5-0 with one abstention. Okay, moving on then to the remaining item. You had a second.
Yeah, second motion would be to adopt the executive director's reduced recommendation of $100 fine.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, thank you very much for making those motions. Moving on to item number 46, case 2025S-002.
My recommendation, Madam Chair, if the report has not been filed, fine violation, impose fine of $200 and declare the committee terminated.
Okay, very good. Mr. Katz, do you have anything about the backing the Honest Blue Pack et al. Case? That might be helpful
No
for you
objection.
finding that. No, you're good. People do it all the time. No objection. Are there any questions, the commission members? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, very good. We're moving on to item number 53, case 2025S-015. For your benefit, it's a Janine Boyd et al. Case.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, my recommendation is fine violation of both the fine of $300. Reports have not been filed. It's primary basis where there are two prior matters. One, in which the commission imposed a $50 fine in 2024. That was paid. 2025 case out of Cuyahoga County. The commission found a violation, imposed a certain fine. My recommendation here is to impose a $300 fine primarily because the reports have not been filed and there are prior matters.
Okay, and just for clarity of the commission members on the agenda, it is reading a $500 fine. Was that a clerical or were there updates that changed that
No, I'm
recommendation?
sorry, it is a $500 fine. I'm blanking out. It's $500 fine. Chair, because of the three matters prior.
Okay, very good. That makes sense. Matt.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, that was my question, Madam Chair.
All
Okay.
right, I can help. All right, Mr. Cass, did you have anything?
Thank you. So following requested corrections to the reports, the committee ended up with a negative $4,219 and change balance prior to transferring from our office to the local board for a local race. So we do fully support the executive director's recommendation for the fine. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any additional questions from the commission members?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Moving on to items 11 and 48. Those are the Stokes cases, 2025R-130 and then 2025S-005.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I'm consolidating these matters because they're on today's meeting. 2025 RDF 130 is from Cuyahoga County, 2025 S-005 is from the Secretary's office. No reports have been filed as it relates to either matters. My recommendation is to consolidate these matters, find a violation and impose a fine of $500, primarily based on the number of outstanding prior matters involved. This hearing.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Richter. Mr. Katz, care to share on these cases or the recommendation?
Thank you. No objection to the executive director's recommendation.
Music Terriers, any questions? All right, all in favor? Sorry, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving on to item 52, case 2025S-011. I apologize.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, my recommendation is to consolidate this case with case number 2024 S-016, which is still pending. Find a violation and impose a fine of $500 and declare the committee terminated. The commission made a prior finding in 2023 against this group. No, I think the only thing that's ever been filed is a designation of treasurer, which was done in either 22 or 23. And so that's the basis for my recommendation.
Okay, very good. Mr. Katz.
Thank you. So he largely said what I was going to. So the committee did not do any filings after its designation of treasurer and is a repeat offender. And so we have no objection to the executive director's recommendation of the fine and declaring the committee terminated.
All right, very good. Any questions of the commission members? If not, is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item 56, case 2025S-018.
This is the last matter involving the Secretary of State's office. I think I apprised you. I am recommending this matter be continued. Staff from Mr. McTighe's office reached out, indicated that they are planning on working on resolving any issues that are outstanding as it relates to the candidates campaign committee. And they asked for additional time. And so I'm recommending this matter be continued.
Mr. Khan.
Hopefully you will hear from the staff.
Hopefully so. Did they happen to ask for how long they needed to address it? Are we doing this in December or?
Give me 1 second. My gut says they didn't, but at the same point. Yes, absolutely. Well, she's, her comment back when I indicated that I would accept it. Let me see what she said. She said either November 20 or December 4. So, at this point, you know.
Let's go December 4 if you're okay with that.
Huh?
Let's go December 4 if you're okay with that.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that, and that way, you know, presumably I will give them enough time to help resolve the matter. Okay.
Thank
So,
you very
Madam
much.
Chair, I'm recommending the matter be continued to December 4th.
That is approved. We're going to continue this to December 4th. All right, very good. As was stated, Secretary of State's office cases should be concluded. Thank you for your time today. Moving on to the dismissed for failure of service category. Cases 2025R-126-146-192 and -193.
Chair, members of the commission, we've not been able to get service on these referrals. 2 from Cuyahoga County, first from Cuyahoga County, the last 2 from the city, from Hamilton County. And so I'm recommending we dismiss these matters for failure of service.
Okay, any questions? Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
That a very quiet second. Okay, the motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the good cause, item 29, case 2025R-195 category. And the item, sorry.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, members of the commission, this was a referral from Hamilton County for a late filing of the July 31, 2024 semi-annual report. The report was filed in October. A response was submitted to the commission. It indicated that they said the reports were completed prior to the filing deadline date. But after reviewing the report, we forgot to hit the submit button, which wasn't identified until after it was already very late. Was recognized the report was submitted. My recommendation, there were no prior violations. My recommendation is to find a violation, but for good cause not imposed fine or refer the matter for the prosecution.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions, the executive director?
I'll move the recommendation of the executive director.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the $50 fine category, or I apologize, $100 fine category.
Yep.
Cases 2025R-202 and -261.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I believe, these are both first-time matters before the commission. The report filed, but no response was submitted to the commission. That would give me an opportunity to make a different recommendation. So my recommendation for a first-time violation is to find a violation and impose a fine of $100.
Okay. Are there any questions or is there a motion?
I'll move the recommendation of the executive director.
Second.
Okay, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. And we move down to $300 fine category. Item 16, case number 2025R-149.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, the report was filed. It was due on December 31, 2025. It was filed on February 3rd, 2025. There are multiple prior matters in which fines have been imposed and no fines have been paid. The maximum fine amount that can be imposed in this case, because it was filed on February 3rd, is $300. So my recommendation is to find a violation, impose a fine of $300.
Okay, any questions or a motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, we're going to move on to the consolidate with cases, find a violation, impose a fine of $500 category items 1 and 19 for the Hendy cases, 20.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I'll speak broadly to all the remaining matters before the commission involve situations where the report has not yet been filed by the committee at issue. In this particular case, we have two matters, different reports coming out of Cuyahoga County. My recommendation is to find a violation, consolidate these cases, and impose a fine of $500. I'll be glad to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay, thank you. The cases are 2025R-076 and -162. Okay, are there any questions or is there a motion?
I'll move to adopt.
Second.
Very good. Thank you both. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. You said all remaining, but I think we have a few more categories here. I might be.
No, there are, I'm just
Okay,
saying that anything related to anything pertinent
Oh,
to cases
Hendy.
from here on out, the reports have not been filed by any of these campaign committees.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to address item 12, case 2025R-131.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, there are multiple prior violations by this group. They also had, I think when I reviewed the records, Cuyahoga County, I think it was, give me 1 second. Right. I'm gonna double check. Yeah, this is out of Cuyahoga County. A designation was filed. Nothing else had been filed subsequent to when it was originally started. And so my recommendation is to find violation, impose a fine of $1,000 and declare the committee terminated.
Any questions or a motion?
I'll move the recommendation of the executive director.
Second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Moving to the $2,000 fine category. Cases 2025R-082, -179, -181, -186, -191, -215. And that is it for that category.
Right, you'll notice on the next, not to get ahead, but on the next page, there are some $2,000 fines we're recommending to be terminated. Here, there are a number of matters where the board did not request that the matters be terminated. They indicated the reports have not been filed. And in a couple of cases, it was indicated to me that the candidate was still running, I think even in the current election. And so my recommendation here though is to, because the reports have not been filed, find a violation, impose a fine of $2,000, primarily be based on the number of prior matters that the commission has addressed concerning these respondents.
Okay, any questions or motions?
Madam Chair, I'll move the executive director's recommendation.
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to the next category, item 21, case 2025R-165.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, there is a pending matter 2025R-288 concerning the same group. My recommendation is that we consolidate these matters, find a violation, and impose a fine of $2,000 as the reports have not been filed.
Okay, any questions or motions?
So moved.
Second, anybody?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the next category, cases 2025R-105, -115, -169, -191, and -252.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, my recommendation is to find a violation and impose a fine of $2,000 and declare the committee is terminated. For these matters, reports have not been filed again for a while. There are a number of prior violations the commission has addressed for all these matters. There's little or no activity since the filing of the designation of treasurer, and so I've already stated my recommendation.
Okay, any questions or is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 18, case 2025R-161, that is continuance. I will grant that unless there's any substantial information you want to share with us.
No, all the rest are for either continue for service or the Board of Elections has requested continuance on the one you just stated because materials were submitted to them earlier this week and they didn't have enough sufficient amount of time to audit them prior to letting the materials were satisfactory.
Okay, great. And then for cases 2025R-085, 088, 091, 104, I'll also grant continuance. Moving on to, well, I apologize. We actually have considered,
We didn't want to go the other.
okay, we need to do the item number 64,
Correct.
case 2025R-212.
This matter was actually addressed in August, and I got a call early in the week from staff at the Hamilton County Board of Elections, where they, as it related to this case, they, what's I'm blanking out. They discovered that the report had actually been filed, and they are asking if the matter be reconsidered and allow them to withdraw the matter. So that's what I recommend.
Okay, are there any questions or is there a motion?
So moved.
All right. Almost felt like one of those moved could qualify, but we're covered. Did you catch it in the order that you want to record it? Okay. All right, very good. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, very good. All right. Thank you for your patience. We are going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break just to give the commission members and those that are here present before we start a full hearing, the opportunity to use the restroom or grab a coffee, whatever. So 10 minutes, we will be back at noon.
Hey, thank you.
It's fun, not a sprint.
There is also, not as many people online as that.
How's it going? Can't complain. So like a giant. I know, and I got a little bit, you can't heal one.
and ready to roll. We are back for this hearing. Actually, I know that Executive Director has some census of the cases as a whole that might implicate the hearings individually. So for efficiency's sake, I don't know if it's appropriate to have you share those, or should we call all three simultaneously or individually?
There's four.
Or I apologize.
That's okay. Madam Chair, members of the commission, there are 4 cases pending here in total. Each, there are 2 consolidated in each matter. Items number 2020S-004 and 2020G-025. Those concern specific allegations of the revised code section 3517-13-0 against Larry Householder and the Household Committee, essentially one filed by the Secretary of State's office and one filed by the Attorney General. We do have a request to see the matter dismissed that was filed by the Attorney General's office as it relates to 2020 G-025. The essential allegations are that campaign funds were improperly used for personal benefit of Mr. Householder. The other 2 cases that have been consolidated, items 65 and 67, are case numbers 2020 G-00 or does 2020 G-015 and 2020 S-003, where there are many respondents involved in these matters, and the allegations are much more broad. Campaign finance related violations primarily in terms of failing to file or filing inaccurate or incomplete campaign finance reports, personal use of campaign funds, and 3517-22, which is the section of law that has been very rarely used, but here there are assertions that persons were improperly placed on a ballot issue campaign and more or less acted improperly. Let's put it that way. Revised code section 359903 is also involved in that, which is corporate contribution section. And you can see my reminder if you look at the last page outline for these cases where various individuals and committees were either withdrawn or dismissed by the Secretary of State's office, primarily the Ohio House Republican Caucus, Ohio House Republican Campaign Committee with J. Matthew White Fiscal as treasurer, represented 3 campaign committee for them, and also the commission dismissed respondent Neil Clark from that case as Mr. Clark is deceased. So we have both, these 2 separate matters today for us for hearing. Madam Chair, members of the commission, I circulated a statement to you last night, which I would be glad to read if the commission wants to do so, but at the same point, we have counsel here. Mr. Blanton is here on behalf of the Attorney General's office, Mr. Katz on behalf of the Secretary of State's office, who could speak on behalf of the complainants. Mr. Katz across the board, Mr. Blanton as it relates to 2020 G-025. And then we have various counsel here as well. I know Mr. Pullins is representing Mr. Householder. Mr. Sullivan is here, and Mr. Sims. Mr. Sims, I think, represents Mr. Borges. Mr. Borges, who has been released and is in a halfway house, it is my understanding, from his sentence in the federal proceedings. And so all of those persons are present at the commission would want to hear from them.
I'm sorry, did you say Sullivan represented?
I did not, because I don't have that in front of me, and I wasn't smart enough to make notes of that. Partners for Progress. There you go.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
of course, we'll proceed, but I think it would be helpful not to hear the entire statement, but a brief summary of Mr. Richter's memo to us last evening and his recommendation.
Granted, and Brenda, thank you very much for the recommendation.
Commission members, interested parties. The cases that we're addressing, they were originally filed with this commission, obviously in 2020, as you can tell by the numbers. But cases during a period of time when the commission staff was working remotely and in response to the submission of a federal indictment against Larry Householder, a variety of other parties. It took until March of 2023 for the federal court case to be concluded. Mr. Householder and Mr. Borges were convicted. Their sentences were announced in June of 2023. Mr. Householder was immediately sent to prison for 20 years. Mr. Borges for 5. Penalties in that case are much greater than any penalty that the commission could impose against the respondents in these cases. Federal prosecutors had and continue to have much greater penalties available concerning the activities included in these matters that are available to the commission in the higher risk of sections under which the commission was filed. This, as a side note, the appeal by Mr. Householder was finalized only in May of this year, and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the findings of the district court. When the commission was finally able to fully conduct its preliminary review, cases were set for hearing, which is what we're here on today. But even at that time, the commission was acting in a time frame well beyond the 2-year statute of limitations for the alleged misdemeanor violations that are pending today. And even at that time, some of the activities that were identified in testimony in the federal case occurred as early as 2017, which would have been prior to the 2-year statute of limitations for the original filings in 2020. In March of 24, an additional indictment was filed in the state court in Cleveland by the Attorney General against Mr. Householder. I was consulted on multiple occasions concerning campaign activities of Mr. Householder by the staff generals that were working in that matter. That indictment concerns some additional activities undertaken by Mr. Householder and included 10 felony additional allegations. Again, much more serious than the pending misdemeanor allegations that this commission has before us. It is unfortunate that the commission, I don't believe the commission can continue consideration of these matters due to the passage of time. Previously stated by the original, by the time the original federal court proceedings were conducted and completed, the time for considering these allegations, I believe, are already expired. Revised Code 2901-13A1B states that a prosecution shall be barred unless it is commenced with the following periods for a misdemeanor other than a minor misdemeanor 2 years. Apparently, these matters were in some regards commenced shortly before the release or shortly after the release of the federal indictment. But as previously stated, even then, some of the activities occurred beyond the 2-year statute of limitations. Even then, it's passage of time. Considering the pending matters that have yet to be decided, both at the federal level, which primarily Mr. Longstreth and Mr. Cespedes have yet to be sentenced, the seriousness of those felony allegations that are pending in Cleveland, and the guilty verdicts have already been handed down and led to serious and lengthy jail times. I believe any finding by the commission would make these matters pale in comparison to the much more grave violations already found. It has been inferred that if the commission simply dismisses these matters, that Mr. Householder has won. If winning is being sent to prison for 20 years, it is unclear to me exactly what winning is. While I normally don't make recommendations in hearings before the commission in regard to these pending matters, Madam Chair, members of the commission, I am recommending that the commission dismiss Ohio Elections Commission's case numbers 2020 S003, 2020 S004, 2020 G015, and 2020 G015, and 2020 G025. Thank you for your attention. I'll be glad to answer any other questions the commission may have.
I would, Madam Chair, if I could, just to be clear, what's the basis for the legal basis for the recommendation of the dismissals?
There's a variety of things. One, obviously, we have gone well past, were the commission to make a finding of a violation and set this matter for prosecution, I believe it would be time barred because the essential allegations that the commission is dealing with are merely misdemeanors and we're well beyond the 2-year statute of limitations. And as I indicated, some of the events that were a part of the federal trial were even prior to the 2020 filing, 2-year statute of limitations when the matter was originally filed in 2020. Secondly, the penalties that the commission has available to it, certainly we can impose fines against a variety of persons that we have here before us. But those fines, I believe, I hate to say it based on my time here with the commission and my belief in the commission's part in the process of enforcing Ohio's campaign finance law. We only have the ability to impose fine amounts that would pale in comparison to lengthy jail terms that we've already seen imposed to some of the parties in this matter. And we're waiting, and even at this point, 5 years down the road, we're still waiting to hear what the federal court will do to certain members who have already made guilty pleas and there are pending sentences.
Madam Chair, if I could, just to be crystal clear, though, my understanding of the recommendation was that all 4 matters before should be dismissed based upon the statute of limitations. Is that essentially accurate?
That is primarily correct, Mr. Kirshner.
If I may, what are the maximum fines that we could impose?
Well, essentially, the commission has the typical campaign finance related fines for failing to file certain campaign finance reports designated for treasurer, which would go to $100 per day, depending on the circumstances. We received a motion to dismiss last night from Mr. Pullins, which I circulated to all of you, but taking Mr. Householder into consideration as it relates to the campaign finance filing violations. And I looked back through the secretary's website yesterday as I was doing my preparation for this today. I believe all, if not all, most of the reports that Mr. Householder was obligated to file were timely filed, and those will not be applicable to Mr. Householder. The simple campaign finance related time frames.
So you're saying that Householder would be in compliance for everything?
I believe that in terms of campaign finance filings, he would be in compliance. In terms of the allegations contained in case numbers 2020 S004 and 2020 G025, there still would be concerns as it relates to the potential improper use of his campaign finance funds for personal reasons. Yes, that's separate and distinct though. But as it relates to those filings, as I looked at the secretary's website, it looked to me like all reports have been timely filed.
I guess from my perspective, and it would be unfair to make any decision without hearing evidence. However, I mean, it's certainly the most egregious set of campaign issues in my lifetime in Ohio. And if the motion is to dismiss it, I'm going to vote present. I think we should either have a hearing and if the evidence proves it, we should give it the appropriate fine based on the severity. I think we owe the citizens of Ohio that. There's prison, there's other things going on, but I mean, this is really major stuff. Alternatively, I would be in favor of continuing the matter and let the newly formed Election Integrity Commission make their assessment and determination going forward of the issues at hand. That's where I'm at.
Very good. Thanks for that insight. I do have a question, Mr. Richter. In precedent of your time in service on the commission, have we operated outside of the statute of limitations on any other cases of note that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And I think it's safe to say, no, we have not. I've always tried to make sure the commission acted in a timely fashion based on what's been submitted to the commission.
And I could probably speak to that issue as well. If the commission would like to hear.
Can we just have a little more discussion before we allow outside parties to make recommendations or discussion? Madam Chair, I guess to our executive director, when we started these cases, we were within the statute of limitations, correct?
Generally speaking, yes. I don't know exactly what all evidence was provided in the trial that dated as far back as 2016 or 2017, but that was noted in various things that I referenced. But majority of the activities, I believe, occurred in 2018, 2019. So yes, it was filed at a period of time that would fit within the statute.
And then we didn't proceed because we allowed for the federal charges to move forward, correct?
Correct. At the time, one of the members of the commission at the time, as you will recall, was a former federal prosecutor who indicated that it was his belief that the federal prosecution would clear the space and not allow us to go forward. Certainly early on, I've talked about this before. There was an early request from Mr. Borges to have a certain subpoena issued that I denied. That was challenged in court. And eventually my decision was upheld and the court confirmed that I was correct in not issuing the subpoena. But as a part of that, both I and the staff of the Attorney General's office that was representing us at the time had conversations with the prosecutor who was handling the case. And while the specific words don't go forward were never expressed, I was certainly given every understanding in the nature of the conversation that the commission was not supposed to go forward on these allegations based on the fact that the federal case was pending out there.
And Madam Chair, Director Richter, I'm glad you shared that additional information because I think I'm the only commissioner that was seated at the time of the original case.
That is correct.
And I think that's helpful to the rest of the commissioners that we did proceed down the road, but we were asked to kind of stand by.
Okay, are there any additional questions of the executive director at this time? If not, I would assume it is the appropriate time to hear from council on item 68 and 66, cases 2020-S-004 and 2020G-025. And 202. 015. 025. These two cases are, well, this is how they're listed. I understand that they're consolidated, but they're listed individually. I'm not sure.
I just make sure I understand what's going on.
So just for housekeeping purposes, these have been consolidated as of the last hearing,
That
correct?
is correct.
Okay, so do you want to operate under one of the case numbers or you're using both?
We're kind of using both because we continue to refer both of them since they both need to have some sort of a resolution identified in the records that reflect the activities. So, yes, I mean, I would refer to both cases.
All right, very good. So
Madam Chair.
that's correct. Item 68 and 66, which have been consolidated. All right, very good. Okay, if the council would all be so kind just as to state your name, and obviously we can tell by complainant respondent who you're representing. But if you would be kind, just for the benefit of the commissioners listening, we appreciate.
As a point of clarification, are you only dealing with 65 and 66 right now? Right.
Yes.
I'm gonna step back.
No,
I
I apologize. I
I'm
apologize.
67.
It's item 68 and 66, cases 2020S-004 and 2020G-025, which is
I'm gonna sit back.
all right. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
All right, very good. And The same, if you wouldn't mind just stating your name and
Thank you, Madam Chair. Attorney Scott Pollins, 76809, Supreme Court member here on behalf of Larry Householder, his campaign committee, friends of Larry Householder. I'm also the chair, or I'm also the treasurer of the campaign committee since August of 2022.
very much for that point of clarification. Mr. Katz, we know you well, but if you wanted to reintroduce yourself, that's fine. And then I'll, sorry.
Thank you very much. Brian Katz from the Ohio Secretary of State's office regarding our complaints. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission, Jonathan Lanson, Ohio Attorney General.
Very good. And just for the legal, the especially legal nature of the case, Phil, I would like for you to govern over this proceeding.
Okay. Sure, not a problem. It would be appropriate for one of the counsel for the complainants to go ahead and address the commission first. Please proceed.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Richter, I would like to say at the outset, this seems to be relatively hotly contested. I have read a statement. I want to make it clear that not all members of this commission were even part of this commission when these allegations were initially filed. For example, I was appointed last year. So I understand this being directed to the overall commission and that there is some frustration, but certainly not all members of this commission were even involved in these matters or appointed at the time that they were filed.
I appreciate that, especially not having been able to read the letter that is in front of you. I appreciate you making those comments, Mr. Kirschner. Thank you very much.
Please.
Thank you. So I've been asked to read a letter from the secretary today as my presentation, and that's all I'll be presenting today. So dear Director Richter and members of the commission, more than 5 years ago, my office brought a complaint to this commission with evidence to support 19 allegations involving Larry Householder's conspiracy to commit crimes against the people of Ohio. 2 months later, we brought a second complaint alleging 162 violations. 2 months after that, we brought a third complaint. Then in March 2021, we added 6 more alleged violations. To date, my office has submitted to your commission a total of 180 alleged violations involving Larry Householder's corruption scandal that have gone unanswered and unresolved by this body. 2 years ago, last Monday, the commission held a preliminary hearing on the complaints but took no action. Despite the fact that the mastermind of these alleged offenses has long since been convicted, sentenced, confined to federal prison, and rejected on appeal. Only since the Ohio Attorney General voted to abolish the Ohio Elections Commission in its biennial operating budget this year have you finally decided a hearing is now warranted. Unfortunately, time is now the enemy of justice. Ohio law establishes clear limits for the timely prosecution of offenses. Misdemeanors must be initiated within 2 years and felonies within 6 years. Your inaction has allowed certain offenses to exceed the statute of limitations for prosecution. As Attorney General Dave Yost reluctantly submitted to you in a motion this week related to their own complaint, through the commission's 5-year delay, Larry Householder has won. You have failed to bring justice against the architect of what is described as the largest public corruption scandal in Ohio's history. This commission's negligence has damaged the credibility of a once respected law enforcement authority and has forced the unprecedented reconstitution of this panel into one that will again prioritize the integrity of our election laws. Your prolonged inaction is not only a disservice to the people of Ohio, but to the accused who have the right to due process, a speedy trial, and the opportunity to move on with their lives. The public deserves confidence that the law will be enforced swiftly and uniformly. Due to the commission's delay, both principles have been violated. In fact, one individual subject to today's complaints has already been tried, convicted, and completed his sentence on criminal charges stemming from this matter. I am content with time served being considered in the adjudication of these matters, but it is long past time for a resolution. While prosecution of crimes may no longer be an option in these matters, the commission still retains its finding authority. Therefore, I urge you to bring these matters to a conclusion today by levying the appropriate fines commensurate with the gravity of the violations. The citizens of Ohio deserve clarity, closure, and confidence that justice is being administered fairly and without any further unnecessary delay. Yours in service, Frank LaRose, Ohio Secretary of State. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Richter, one question. Mr. Katz, when would the statute of limitations have run in this matter?
I believe I have no further comment in addition to the letter that I've read, but your staff attorney, I believe, can answer your legal questions for you.
No, I want, from your perspective, you've engaged throughout in this process and as counsel. Just a very basic question. You've asserted that the statute of limitations is run. As it relates to that question, when did the statute of limitations run?
So the statute of limitation for prosecutions on these matters. So a prosecution cannot commence within 2 years of an offense or 6 years for a felony. That is different than the Ohio Elections Commission authority to continue to hear fines on cases, which is different than misdemeanor and felony statute of limitations.
So what was that date?
I do not have that date in front of me.
Have you come unprepared, or, I mean, I've been able to review the letter. You've indicated the statute of limitations is run. From our perspective, when did it run?
So, sir, we've alleged 180 violations, and so the date for those potential statute of limitations would vary depending on the underlying offenses for each of them, and I do not have 180.
How about the last of that?
So again, sir, I believe the letter speaks for itself, and I have no further comment beyond that.
We'll note the unwillingness to respond.
Mr. Blanton, would you like to address the commission?
Sir. Madam Chair, members of the commission. The Attorney General will stand on the submission of the request for dismissal previously presented. Statute of limitations has run. You asked when. The specific instances in the Attorney General's complaint dated to September of 2020. They were transfers from the campaign finance account out to the IOLTA accounts of counsel representing Mr. Householder in criminal matters. That would have run 2 years after that, because those are misdemeanor offenses under the elections code. So that would have been in September of 2022. Thank you.
Counsel, appreciate preparation and the direct response to the question. So at least 3 years ago, those statute of limitations were run.
Yes, Commissioner. So through the chair. Yes, Commissioner.
Great. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, again, Executive Director Richter, members of the commission. Happy to be here on behalf of former Speaker Larry Householder and friends of Larry Householder. The complaint or complaints before you filed, particularly by the Secretary of State, is not an actual elections complaint. In a court of law, in our opinion, it would have been thrown out long, long ago. It is completely, entirely, and wholly defective on its face. In a normal elections complaint, and I've seen quite a few of those, my first appearance before you was in 2004. But in a normal elections complaint, one or more factual allegations are alleged, some evidence is provided, and then violations of the revised code are alleged. These things simply did not happen here. I provided a brief on our position on it, but and I'm not going to repeat that word for word, but suffice to say is there are little or no facts alleged here at all. Over 5 years later, there is no evidence been provided. And the two complainants here have rested. They've rested at a full hearing. They have not, they're not calling witnesses today. They're not bringing in the transcripts of the trial. In other cases, the statute of limitations have run. And I would just differ barely with the director and say a lot of these activities happened in 2017 and 2018. Let me explain further so we know what really happened here. We all know that in 2017 and 2018, two different factions of Ohio House Republicans had a contest as to who would be the next Speaker of the House in 2019. Like previous speakers contests before then and after then, millions of dollars of both hard and soft money were raised. Candidates were recruited and or endorsed in primaries. These facts were all widely reported in the media at that time in 2018 around the primaries. Both sides in this contest set up various nonprofit and for-profit organizations, which did not have to legally disclose their income. And both sides set up one or more super PACs, which received publicly disclosed contributions that were filed with the Federal Elections Commission. The Secretary of State could have launched an investigation, subpoenaed records, and filed an elections complaint after the 2018 primary when most of this activity took place. The Secretary chose not to do so. Instead, over 2 years later, facing media criticism, he literally cut and pasted the federal indictment and alleged violations on at least 3 occasions. The Secretary of State, with all due respect, appears to be laboring under the mistaken belief that this commission has some kind of investigative arm, similar to the Federal Elections Commission. It does not, and it never has. The Secretary of State is the investigative arm in the state of Ohio for these types of violations. And the Secretary of State has all kinds of authority, including subpoenaed bank accounts. In some cases, they don't even have to provide copies of the subpoenas to the parties' records who they subpoena. Secretary of State has not investigated this complaint, alleged complaint, in any way as far as I can determine. Commissioners, this complaint is a press release, an op-ed, a cover yourself memo that is masquerading as an elections complaint. It was filed so the Secretary of State could show he was a good guy, standing up against those dastardly villains, Larry Householder and First Energy. It is long past time to dismiss this complaint. My client is not here today. My client cannot appear today because he will not be let out of federal prison for this matter. I cannot communicate with my client on an unmonitored basis for more than 1 hour per week if they even permit me to do so as an attorney. I cannot meet with my client on more than 1 day at a time in a week. That is scheduled far in advance and then only for a couple hours. Even worse, Mr. Householder is under felony indictment, 10 felony counts in Cuyahoga County, which includes items raised in these complaints. So I can't defend him. I can't use some of my best defenses because he's in real jeopardy in Cuyahoga County. There are lots of things I'd love to do, especially on the Attorney General side. I cannot do it because we're facing trial. It's probably going to be June of 26 at this point, but we're facing trial. I can't defend my client effectively there. And as alluded, Mr. Householder is being punished far in excess of anyone else that participated in these efforts. He is serving a 20-year federal prison sentence while a sitting U.S. senator, not sitting anymore, who was found with hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash and gold bars from a foreign country, someone that engaged in classic quid pro quo bribery, received almost half of the sentence that Mr. Householder received. I respectfully ask you to dismiss this complaint. Mr. Householder has not won. He has 3 grandchildren that he has never seen. His sister died while he was in prison, and he was not permitted to go to her funeral. I could go on and on about the things that have happened there, but suffice to say that Mr. Householder has won nothing today. I respectfully ask you to dismiss this complaint. Thank you. I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any questions for either the respondent or the complainants from the commission members? Okay, seeing none, thank you. I would like to just make a statement that it is appreciated, the sentiment and the weight of the situation. I don't think there's a single party in this room that is excited about the reality of what we have to face in the state of Ohio due to a lot of implications that are far beyond any of our personal reach. And even through the commission itself, having varied members through varied seasons, this becomes a very complex situation for us to navigate. So I simply just issue that statement out of respect, both for all the parties involved, all of the council involved. We know this is not easy or a light lift for any one of you, but also for just the respect for the commission members that are dealing with something that is weighty in nature, and that we would not be treated as insignificant or as ill-intentioned. I think that that's unfortunate, but that is a tone that's been postured. But just wanted to make that statement. This is not something that anybody is excited about dealing with, but certainly we want to treat the law to the full extent of the law and appropriately govern with what we've been handed and what we have as far as resources in managing and mitigating these situations. So that is all I have. But are there any additional comments that any of the commission members might like to make? Or is there a motion, given there are no witnesses, there's no additional commentary to be made?
Madam Chair, just a comment, and probably a question for our executive director. I appreciate your sharing your comments. I agree with them, and I do believe that being disrespectful of the commission, whether it's from another elected official or whether it's from the respondent, is inappropriate. This commission has served the test of time since the 80s. And as all of us are aware, commissioners are appointed every so many years. And so you have cases that in some cases, you have 1 or 2 or 3 commissioners who have heard the full case. And then as others roll off, you have commissioners that are hearing it for the first time. And I think that's what Mr. Commissioner Kirschner was illuminating, that he was not on the commission when the original complaints came before us. I'm the only commissioner that was on the commission at that time. That's the way the cookie crumbles, because that's the way we're appointed. And we are expected to pick up and carry on the new commissioners as they are appointed. Is it the best of situations? Probably not, but you're not going to have people serving indefinite terms. And that was the design of this commission. My understanding, and I just want to get clarity from the executive director, is that we were asked to stand down. We were, whether it was expressed explicitly. I do remember that Commissioner Kreitz did recommend that we stand down as a member of this commission, someone who is fully aware and attuned to federal prosecution, and felt that that was a more serious charge than elections violations in the state of Ohio, and that we should take the second seat. So with that, Director Richter, was that your understanding at the time that we should stand down?
That was definitely my understanding at the time, yes.
Thank you.
That it was recommended that the commission not proceed. And again, even when I was originally asked, as I already said, about, issuing subpoenas, and that matter was pending, the prosecutor essentially indicated that they would be monitoring the case very closely, continue to defend, and they were very satisfied with the fact that we were defending that and not issuing those subpoenas because they did not want us to involve ourselves in the matter that was pending before the federal courts.
Madam Chair, if I could. Yeah.
Yes, but I just want to make one important point, because words do matter. And I don't think the sentiment was ever to stand down. That is not our desire, will, or nature when there are serious things coming in front of us. But I think the nature of it was to respect the process that was already underway, and the fact that a dual track would have legal implications of its own.
and to defer to the federal prosecution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just an observation from my perspective as well. And Mr. Tavares was the only commissioner present at that point in time and really served honorably when I first began as a chair here and did a very nice job. I believe that Mr. Richter may very well have been informed to not proceed based upon legal matters that were pending at that point. Ms. Davis and I are relatively new to the commission, and I think that that's evidenced by the fact that, to my knowledge, this matter has never been an agenda item or addressed for our panel since we began in this process. So I understand some of the positions, but I will say from our body's perspective, since I've been on this commission, this has never been an agenda item or raised for consideration.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure, Commissioner.
First of all, I agree with your comments, Madam Chair, Mr. Kirschner's, and obviously Commissioner Tavares. This case, the gravity of this case, the weight of this case, I have to say, I've been on this commission for almost 4 years. And given this hearing, I guess we're calling it a hearing, is so truncated. I don't see it as a hearing. I don't see evidence. I don't really see any testimony. And that makes it very difficult for me personally to make a decision in this case. And I have to say that, I've been on this commission, as I said, 4 years. And I'm very proud to have been on this commission. I'm very proud to say that I have never felt like politics has been played. We have 3 Republicans, we have 3 Democrats and an independent. And if you look back at the history, we are 90, I'd say, not without having it in front of me, but I bet we're 99% of the time all on the same page. It is truly a nonpartisan committee that is trying to apply the law and do what is right for the citizens of Ohio. And today I don't feel that way. I feel politics is being played. I don't like the fact that fingers are being pointed at us for all the reasons that have been articulated already. I take that great exception to that because I know each one of these individuals and I know how, particularly also Mr. Richter, he's been around for a long time. And I hold him in the highest regard and with the most integrity of anybody I've ever dealt with in my career of over 40 some years. All right. He is truly a gentleman. He's truly an honest person. And I don't appreciate comments coming from the politicians here really pointing the finger at Mr. Richter and then the rest of us by extension. So I'm not I have to say I agree with Commissioner Knight. I don't feel comfortable and, we're going to have a vote on this. I'm going to vote present also. I think this should go forward in the new Elections Integrity Commission. That's my comment, Madam Chair.
If I may, I'd just like to add one short thing. I'm highly disappointed in particular with the secretary's letter and statement. It was, in my opinion, highly political, unnecessary, and uncalled for. And if to make that statement and then request was for us to levy appropriate fines, but then be unwilling to present evidence is along with the statements of being so tough on the situation is kind of hypocritical in my opinion. So I wanted to make that statement.
Commissioner, do you have something to say?
No. I want to make one more comment just in terms of I made the recommendation that I made and I'm comfortable and both uncomfortable at the same time. I just want to make it clear it was with great reluctance that I made the recommendation that I did. I mean, the commission, I think he, as we heard from Mr. Blanton, where he indicated that it would appear that statute ran in 2022. Well, the federal court case didn't even get resolved until May, I think it was, of 2023, April or May of 2023. And so we were kind of, or March of 23, excuse me. We were put into a rather untenable situation, and made the recommendation that I did. I'm sticking with it, but I'm certainly not real comfortable with it.
All right. Are there any additional questions of the executive director? Comments, or is there a motion?
I'll move that we continue the case to January of 2026 for assessment by the newly formed Election Integrity Commission, in hopes that they have the appropriate new tools provided by the legislature to better handle the situation.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second.
Take a roll.
Favor, or I apologize, Phil would like to take an individual roll call.
Just getting myself set up to properly. Ms. Davis.
Yeah.
Ms. Tavares,
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner.
Abstain.
Thank you. Mr. Lyle,
Yes, and Mr. Knight's motion.
Mr. Knight,
Yes.
Chair Hagan.
Abstain.
That motion passes 4-0 with 2 abstentions. We still have before us case numbers 2020 S003 and 2020 B -015.
All right. With the
One point of
appropriate
clarification, I'm sorry.
counsel- No, you're fine.
One point of clarification I'd like to make, with all due respect to the statement that was provided from the Secretary's office. There was a statement concerning 180 alleged violations. There were some violations that were included in those complaints that the commission was not able to act upon in those matters. And those issues were dismissed at the preliminary review matter. There were inclusions of 3599-01, 3599-04, 3599-111, 3599-13, 3599-14 that appear to have amounted to about 115 of those allegations. And unfortunately, we're not within the commission's jurisdiction. And so the commission dismissed those allegations as it could not act on those issues that were pending or that were alleged. Excuse me.
Good. Thank you for that, that information, Phil. All right, very good. It looks like we have additional or different counsel. Would you be so kind as introduce yourself to the commission?
Brian Sims, 006-3313, on behalf of Mr. Borges.
Thank you very much.
May I first vote?
Yes.
I'm gonna start out by just saying, I wish this commission had made a decision today. Because this came under you all, not individuals. But it came under this commission to make a decision. And today's the day for that decision. It's set for hearing. It's set for evidence. It's set for testimony, people testifying. And what did you do? You punted on this last matter. I'm just beyond. I just cannot believe it. But let me point some things out here, folks. In terms of Mr. Borges, it's items 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44 pertain to him. I believe some of those have already been dismissed, if I'm correct, Mr. Richter. And by staff. I think only items, maybe 36, maybe 37, actually are applicable or are in still play here. Let me talk about the statute of limitations. And let me give you a little bit of background. Mr. Tavares was on the commission when I presented the case against Mayor Trevor Elkins from, I believe he was from Newburgh Heights up in Cleveland area. I was a prosecutor, senior prosecutor for Ron O'Brien for 29 years. Handled all sorts of cases, death penalty cases, high-end murder cases, drug cases. But I also handled the election stuff for Mr. O'Brien. When we presented the case against Mayor Elkins, I believe that was in 2021. Only Mr. Commissioner Tavares was on the commission. The chairman was Mr. Kreitz. We spent 2.5 hours presenting evidence. People from the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections actually testifying to records, testifying to conduct. I cross-examined Mayor Elkins for, I believe, 45 minutes. At one point in time, he said, well, and basically the allegation was he was living out of his campaign fund. He said, well, I gave the money back. And I said to him, yeah, if you rob a bank, you can't give the damn money back. You still committed the offense. And that, and Commissioner Tavares, everyone else, I think there was one abstention, voted to refer the case to the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office. And to answer your question, Chairman, has the commission ever moved evidence or presented or referred a case that was outside the statute? Ultimately, it's the prosecutor's office, that has to make some of that decision. And those decisions were made because some of the allegations against Mayor Elkins, coincidentally, is mayor again up in Newburgh Heights, if you can believe that one. But there was conduct clear back in 2013. So we made that decision. We didn't even present that evidence to the commission because I knew from my experience, education, and training, it was outside the statute of limitations. It was beyond the 2-year period. But the bottom line with that case was that the commission could have done 2 different things. They could have referred it, which they did, the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, and he was charged. He actually did jail time up in Cleveland, but they could have also levied fines. And I respect your comments, Commissioner Knight, and wanting to hey, can we do fines? But you can't do fines if you don't have any damn evidence. That's on them. It's on the Secretary of State. It's on the Attorney General's office. You folks have done nothing wrong. This commission has done nothing wrong. Have you been duped? Possibly? Oh, yes, you have. Just because there's a federal prosecution doesn't mean the statute of limitations runs. That it's told. I had many, and I'm also a criminal defense attorney now after I retired. I've got guys that got federal charges and state charges at the same time. It's no different. I went down the street as a special U.S. attorney, indicted people in federal grand jury, came back down, indicted people in Franklin County grand jury for state charges. But, you know, the chronology here, Secretary of State filed the complaint August 7th of 2020. Federal indictment against Mr. Borges, July 30th of 2023. He is convicted March 9th of 2023. He's sentenced in July of 2023. I mean, Matt got 5 years. It's not, you know, it's a stiff penalty. Believe me, it's a stiff penalty. No one wants to go to prison, especially somebody that's never even spent a damn day in jail his entire life. Now he's facing 5 years. I will tell you, he is out as of October of this year in a pre-release center, basically a halfway house. So, but he's still under the jurisdiction of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I mean, it's basically like parole. In June 24th of 2021, I'm looking at the minutes from this commission. This issue came up. This case came up clear back then. And in the commission's minutes, Jonathan Blanton, Assistant Attorney General, addressed the commission on behalf of the complainant, Attorney General Dave Yost. Mr. Blanton encouraged the commission to proceed on the case in consideration of the petition for misuse of campaign funds by Mr. Householder and others. Carl Schneider, a counsel for Matt Borges, offered comment as to why he believed it was appropriate for the commission to proceed to a final resolution today for Matt. And the recommendation by Mr. Richter at that time, continue the preliminary review of the listed matters to an undetermined date. Right here. Again, the statute of limitations for any crime, whether it be a felony or a misdemeanor, is when it is discovered by law enforcement. And that was clear back, even for Mr. Householder, in 2017, 2018, at best 2019, they were investigating it because, you know, the indictment came a year later. That time was running. Then, you know, Mr. Borges files with the Supreme Court, Ohio Supreme Court, an action to get the commission to move on this issue. And that was in, I believe, in 2023. And one of the responses to the Supreme Court by the commission was, we are setting it for hearing. And it was set in November 2nd of 2023. And I assume that is based on this filing by the attorneys that were representing Mr. Borges at that time. They were saying, hey, Supreme Court, make them do something. It's not like Matt was saying, you know, well, let's just ride this out. His attorney in 2021, Carl Schneider, says, let's have a hearing. Let's get this done. He files with the Ohio Supreme Court. Supreme Court, get them to do something. Set it for hearing in November 26th, November 2nd of 2023. Again, nothing happens. What are we doing here? And you want to punt it to this election integrity group that's being formed in January? The decision should be made today. Not punt. This commission is punted enough. You know, it's just, you know, the Mayor Elkins case was handled correctly. It was handled competently. People got behind a mic from Cuyahoga County Board of Elections and testified to records. The mayor was cross-examined. The commission could have issued a fine. They didn't. They took it a step further. Why? Just like all of you, just like what Mr. Knight had said, they thought it was one of the most egregious situations. The guy spent over $140,000 of his campaign money on God knows what. Bar food, beers, golf. And he was prosecuted. This commission could have done the same thing in regards to Mr. Borders. I don't want to second guess or tend to speculate why the U.S. Attorney's Office may have back-channeled it, as you will. You want to talk about politics. Back-channeling it, saying, Mr. Richter, you know, don't have people file subpoenas. Don't do this, don't do that, don't take action. Why? They didn't want the federal case screwed with. They didn't want executives from First Energy subpoenaed and come in here and be put under oath.